guys, welcome to another video on Pandas series. In this video, we'll be talking about how to apply filters on data frame in order to perform filtering, which can help you in understanding the subsets of the data in great detail. Now, there are a bunch of operations that are usually performed in order to operate, in order to get or extract certain subsets of data. Now, those usually include either logical operators, comparison operators, and there are a couple of operations or functions supported by the Pandas library itself. In the previous video, we talked about we worked on data from Kaggle website. And those who do not know, Kaggle is an open source, is a platform where people participate on machine learning competitions and also post their open source data sets. If you are interested or if you want to learn machine learning, I think kaggle.com is a great place to start with. Now, coming back to our video, in the previous video, we worked with a data set where we had it from kaggle.com website. Here's another way of extracting or preparing or getting the data from directly from the internet itself. So if you have the URL to this CSV file of which is hosted on some of the servers in internet, you can directly pass that URL into pandas.read CSV method. It will pull the data for you automatically. You do not need to copy the entire data from the web, and then instead you can directly pass into the URL of that website into the pandas read CSV module. There are other functions which are supported by pandas library, such as read HTML, read JSON. Depending on the type of data that is present on the website, you can use those methods as well in order to pull the data from those websites. Now, since I've already pulled the data, I'm not going to rerun this method because it usually takes some time to pull the data. Now, if you look at the movies data, it has star rating column, title, content rating, genre, duration, and actors list. Now, this is a column, this is a data frame, and if you and then if you want to apply certain filters out of it or on top of it, let's say you have a genre column and you want to pull out what are basically the rows which contain certain genres of the movies. So before that, let's check what are the categories in genre in this data frame actually contains. So remember, in a previous video we used value counts method. So what it does is basically gives out the frequency distribution of all the categories present in the genre column. So as you can see, this movies data set has around 278 drama category, 156 of comedy, and so on and so forth. Now let's say we want to generate or we want to extract only those rows from the movies data which are of a specific genre. So let's say movies dot genre equal horror. Oops, spelling horror. So what it gives is, it gives us a bunch of false, somewhere true. So basically this is a kind of like one-dimensional array that it basically gives, containing only Boolean values. Now if you look at the type of this, it is basically a pandas core.series type. So this explains that it basically, once you run this operator, once we have run this double equals operator on movies.genre column, it returns a one-dimensional series operator, series as an output. Now this we can say it as a mask of Boolean values. When you copy this mask or when you apply this mask on your actual data, then it will basically give us all the rows which are containing only the horror column as their genre. So let me do that. So in order to do that, you have to basically enclose the conditions within square and opening and closing of square brackets of the data frame. Now this will pull out all the rows which are basically containing the horror as genre. So this is one method of extracting certain sets or subset from your data frame. Now, if this is one subset was done using double equal operator, there are other operations that you can also perform. But before that, let's understand how we can use .loc method. So this, what the .loc method does is, it basically again tries to pull out only, it basically also does the same function that double equal operator did before, but essentially what it does, it also provide you an extra extra option where you can pass out different columns as well as a choice. So earlier when we applied this function on movies data frame, it basically pulled out all of the columns like star rating, title, content rating, duration, and actors list as well. But what if you want only those columns which are of horror category, but only, let's say, only of title and only of star rating as columns? So you can do that when you're using the loc method. What you have to do additionally, you have to pass out the list of the columns. So let's say star rating comma title. Now you have to pass them in a list because you have more than one columns. If you had only one, you can simply ignore this opening and closing bracket as a list, and you can directly could have passed the one column. Now if you run this command, what it does is basically all the categories, all the genre categories of horror on the columns star rating and title. So this basically gives out a subset of your data. So this is one method of extracting the data from your data frame using double equals operator. Now let's say you have multiple conditions to be performed on a data. Let's say you have movies and you want to pull out all the data from data frame which are of, let's say, drama category as well as comedy as well as action. So what you can do is you can pass it in, you can combine those using uh, either or operator. So let's say you have conditions as drama, as comedy, as action. So these are the genres that I'm interested in. Let's label them as an in a list, and let's name it as a condition list. Now what we can do is, so we have movies as our data frame. What we have to do is, since we are going to perform multiple conditions, so there are two ways to perform multiple conditions. One is either we pass it entire data frame, entire each of the conditions separately and separated by opening and closing of parentheses. So now to do that, we have movies dot genre, oops, movies dot genre equal drama. Then we have to separate by or operator. So now, or before that, I should have talked to you about different operators which are supported by the pandas while you are preparing the filtering conditions. So for and operations, you have to use ampersand. For operator, you have to use pipe operator, and for negation, you have to use tilde operator. So these are the operators which are supported by pandas library while you are preparing or while you are applying the filtering criteria, or more than one filtering criteria into your data frame. So we have another movies dot genre equal, let's say, comedy, comma, movies dot genre equal history. So each of the conditions, I have separated them by opening and closing brackets, and if I run this, what it does, it basically gives out all of the columns, which all of the rows which are basically containing either drama or comedy or history category. Now likewise, you have more than one conditions you can pass in. You have to write each of the conditions by and each of the conditions separated by the logical operations. Now this usually takes some time, and if you look at the time to run this, it will take around 54.7 milliseconds. This number may vary depending upon the hardware specifications of your laptop or a computer. Now if there's another method, if you run this using movies dot isin operator. So isin operator is another sub filtering operator that is provided by the pandas library. So what it does is it also applies the or operations onto your bunch of different columns, but it does not need each of the conditions to be written separately. What it does is basically it takes a list as an input and it tries to check for all of the categories for a given column. So we have movies.genre.is in, let's say, condition. If I pass this, it will also give out all these rows only, but instead it will run much faster. Now if I run this, time. So if I run this, it took basically only 20.3 milliseconds, way faster than the previous method, and also gave us the same exact result. So this is the beauty of using .isIn operator. If you are going to write multiple operations, so it's better you should perform um, you should opt for .isIn method. Now in order to, now again, you have used this method and you are still getting more than one column. So let's say if you wanted to select only, let's say, title and star rating as a columns out of once you have performed this condition on the genre columns, you can do that by passing log, just like that, just like previously we selected. So star rating comma, oops, title. Okay, and this will give out only star rating and title for all the rows in genre which are either in drama, in comedy, or in history, or in action. Sorry, we have the different conditions in our conditions list. So these are the two different ways of filtering out the data, and I've talked to you about applying multiple conditions on top of it. Also, you can try out negation operator. So let's say for all, we have wanted to pull out all the rows which are for which the genre column is not in drama, comedy, or action. So you can do that as well, but you have to write the tilde operators along with the movies.genre.isIn condition. So basically this, what it does is it basically pulls out all the rows for which the genre column is not either drama or action or comedy. And if you run that, it basically pulls out a different subset which has for which the category is basically not drama, action, or comedy. So this is another method of applying negation operator. And likewise, you can perform ampersand operator as well. Now we have covered the logical operations. Now let's go and dive down into what exactly is comparison operator, how those can be used in our data. So in order to do that, let's say we want to pull out only those columns or those rows from our data for which the star rating is, let's say, above 8.0. So in order to do that, so we have movies dot star rating greater than 9.0. So if you do that, it will basically tell us, it gives out three rows: Shawshank Redemption, Godfather, and Godfather Part 2 as different three movies which have star rating above 9.0. And likewise, you can also use less than operator, which will basically pull out all the rows which have a star rating below 9.0. And you can use less than equal operator or greater than equal operator. So these are four different kind of negation operators that you can use. Along with that, there is a not equal operator also you can use. So these are five different comparison operators that you can perform while you are using the filtering criteria. Now you can also club them with each of the categories. So let's say you want to select from 8 8 rating above movies. Along with that, I also want to ensure that the genre is of movies.genre is of comedy. So if you do that, you will get a list of all the movies for which the rating is above 8 and the genre is only comedy. So this is another way of performing or adding or clubbing basically multiple criteria using ampersand operator. You could have also used or operator. So what it would have done is either comedy is genre or star rating it is 8 and above. So if you can see, the genre is crime, action, drama, western, adventure, and so on and so forth. So this is the beauty of applying multiple operations. And but remember one thing, that you have to separate out each of these methods, each of the criterias by opening and closing of brackets. That means each of the conditions should be separated, followed by logical operators, and within each of the conditions you can use multiple or more than one comparison operators. So that's all for now on filtering. In the next video, we'll be covering more filtering criterias. So do check out another videos. I'll be making more such videos. And if you have followed this video so far, and if you have enjoyed this video, do like or share or subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering more videos on this topic, along with maybe in future I will be making videos on Python itself.